What's up, everybody? It's the Digital World Podcast. I hope everyone had a good 4th of July, spent time with their families. I know I did, hence why there was the time off. And so, um, but nevertheless, we're still at it. We're here. Um, I want to go over this because I think there's going to be a lot of people are expecting lower rates coming. You're seeing Trump talk about, hey, we need to lower 300 basis points to get it to 1%. And for those of you that have been watching my videos, know that I told the story of an older couple who had recently sold their home and were moving to the Pacific Northwest. And they were saying, well, if they do lower interest rates, then you're going to see a flood of people come in and buy the homes, and the homes are going to go back up in price. And while I think that their thinking is flawed, um, I think a lot of people have this same thought. I think there are two things that have permeated home buyers in the last couple of years. First being, hey, just buy the house and just refinance later afterwards. The thing is, you can't refinance a house that has lost value. If you bought the house at 500,000, you can't refinance it when it's down to 400,000. That's not how it works. And I think a lot of people and a lot of agents have duped people into thinking that this is the case, and little do they know that they're going to be stuck. And those people that bought thinking, hey, I can afford to make the payments for this house for a year and a half or 2 years, whatever the case may be. Well, what if that never comes, right? First of all, like, what if the interest rates don't lower? And second of all, you won't be able to. The value of your house is less than what you bought it for. So you're stuck. So you put yourself in a situation where you may inevitably lose your house, let alone, what if you lost your job and you can't make the payments anymore? Then what? So people are in a very precarious situation. And I think that um, there's a lot of people out there that jumped onto a mortgage just because they didn't want to be left out of a house. And the cycle repeats and repeats. And patience is really of the essence when it comes to something like this. And here on this channel, we talk about that. My thesis is that we're going higher. Rates are going much higher. People are expecting price cuts. And what's interesting is, there's a lot of news from Trump, from Federal Reserve, especially from more so the politics side of, like, the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell needs to drop rates, right? So they're getting people seasoned to believe that that's what's coming, right? But I think that based on what we're seeing in the markets, I think we should expect higher rates. I think that's what's coming next, and people will get caught off guard if usually in the history when you see interest rates get cut, right? That usually signals uh, that the economy, right, is doing pretty poor, and so that's a signal to the markets of what's coming. However, I do think that if there happens to be interest rate cuts, doesn't mean that the yields will drop as well. Last time that the Fed cut rates, right, you saw the mortgage rates go up. So, um, so as far as mortgage rates are concerned, I think we need to be very vigilant and be aware. I could be wrong, but what I'm saying is it could be another 5 years before we get confirmation that we have rising yields for treasury bonds. And so, um, this is a long term play, but what I see coming is increasing interest rates. Okay. Um, with that being said, I think we should take a look here about this post. So CNBC posted how America's debt spiral could spark the next crisis, right? We see here George Gammon posted the debt isn't the problem. Long end trades on growth slash inflation, not supply. The problem is the economic distortions created by the government spending. That's a very important distinction to make. So, if we're talking about higher interest rates on yields for treasury bonds, um, it's based on growth and inflation. So, what will the market tell you? I think, come this fall, I think September will be a good indicator of where we go with yields. And I'm curious if we end up cutting, right, what that'll do to mortgage rates. Mortgage rates are currently at 6.72. So it's dropped about 0.15% from the last month or so. So um, that was about the ending of May 29th at 6.89. So they've come down a bit, but I think in the long run, we need to keep an eye out for higher interest rates. Um, with that being said, I think that's kind of the update here. We'll keep monitoring it, but I want you to pay close attention what the narrative is, because this narrative of dropping and lowering interest rates has started, I believe it was in May or so, where Trump started attacking Powell. Oh, he needs to lower interest rates. He needs to lower interest rates. It's kind of programming the masses, right, of what they want them to think is going to happen. And so I do think that if they end up doing it, we may see the opposite effect happening. I'm telling you, the bond market tells you what's really going on. And ever since July of 2020, we bottomed and we've shifted in trend. And if this spikes up and breaks above this high of 5.04, I think we're in for a rude awakening for many people. So, anyways, let me know what you guys think. What are you guys seeing in your areas? Because I know there's a lot of, layoffs that are happening. And so that always contributes, right? That's the last domino to fall along with housing is employment. And when we see that domino fall, that's when everything comes tumbling down. And I think we're in for one of those end of cycle shocks that will be hitting people. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel. It's the Digital World Podcast. And I'll see you in the next episode. Have a good one.